Hello, gentlemen. Welcome back. It's Confidently Wrong. Brian, how's it going?
We are here.
Are you hanging in there?
Good. I am hanging. I'm hanging with all of my hanging appendages.
Ugh.
I don't know what I'm saying here.
Let's not talk about
It's
hanging.
late.
Savon, how are you doing today?
Doing lovely.
Awesome.
Wow, that was so gentle.
It's good to see. It's good to see you guys. We're back at it. We're recording. This is the second we're doing in a row. So, we will be spicing it up, bringing some more energy. This episode, what episode is this? 167.
Yeah.
Amazing. We've had 167 episodes. That's a
This
lot
is
of
a train
episodes.
that just keeps going.
Hey, we're doing it, and most people they don't make it past like episode 3. So
we're like the days of our lives of podcasting. We are not going anywhere.
Pour one out for Zach Lowe. Got canned at ESPN and we haven't
what does
heard
it
a
have to
peep
do
from
with
him.
Days of Our Lives?
Well,
Sad
he had a
podcast
long-running podcast. You know, it was kind of a staple in my podcast rotation.
Me too, Wes.
I could count on him. Yeah, we could count on him, and he's just gone. He's gone radio silent. We haven't had a tweet from him. No writings from him.
So he doesn't write anymore.
He has. Well, I'm sure
he's just done.
I don't know.
Done.
I mean,
he
he's
wrote
probably
for ESPN, but
on...
like, I guess he's probably figuring out his new contract.
Right.
He's
yeah,
probably
he's
quietly
figuring
out
out
who's
the
going
next
to be working with. But like, he would write his podcast was the best basketball pod. Dude had some of the best takes.
Very great interviewer. Got like really did his homework on getting people to interview.
Hard.
Yeah.
Unlike us.
It was by far the best basketball pod I've listened
Sav
to.
did all his homework, so I don't know.
I did my homework
when previous episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
Last episode, Sav brought all of the information.
Hey man, I care, man.
Wiki
I care.
Savia right here.
Yeah. But between that, Wes, and losing the mismatch, now that wasn't my favorite, but it was still like, dude, I'm running low on my favorite basketball.
What's
pods.
Mismatch?
That was the one with Chris Vernon and Kevin O'Connor, who I'm not even a big Kevin O'Connor fan, but it was still a solid pod I listened to for the last like 8 years. And then suddenly they fire folks. I'm like, oh God, where are my basketball pods?
Are you starting to like itch?
Yeah, I'm just like shaking.
I'm tweaking.
It's like my security blanket's gone. Like, what am I gonna listen to in the shower? Anyways, yeah. Wes, yeah.
Try not to listen to the daily New York Times podcast. Good Lord, that is it's so scary and depressing right now.
Oh, I would never do that.
It's anxiety fuel in the morning if you try to listen in the morning.
That's why I listen to the basketball stuff and I skip Pelicans episode.
Oh, I just started listeling to like a fictional podcast, which is something entirely new for
that's
me.
Cool.
Is that an audio book?
I mean, well, it's not like they're reading paragraphs or anything, but it's two actors acting out an entire story, and it's Oscar Isaac and Julianne Moore doing a time travel podcast, and it's legit. Like,
send it to us.
Me. Yeah, it's called Case 63, I think, something like that.
K, like letter K.
Case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Case 63.
About time travel.
All right. Well, we'll be expecting that advertisement check in the mail, Oscar Isaac. Do you know his wife is not his wife? His sister is like an environmental scientist, who like works out of Miami or something like that, or Florida.
And her last name is Isaac.
No, it's not. Absolutely not.
Okay. Where are we going with this?
Nowhere. Just kind of fun fact about him that his wife, his sister is just a famous scientist.
Good for their family
and community activist.
Bravo.
Yeah.
And he's everywhere.
He I feel like he's taking a break. He hasn't been in as much lately. Is that true? I haven't seen him in something in a while. What was the last thing he was in besides Moon Knight? Maybe
a podcast called Case 63.
Maybe that's why he's doing a pod. Maybe he hasn't been hired.
Question. That's a good question.
I think maybe he's taking a step back for a bit. Not Pedro Pascal though.
I was gonna say he got replaced by Pedro Pascal. That's what happened.
That man is still.
And then they're gonna find some other like Latino white passing dude.
We're gonna keep that in the pod. It's not gonna be edited out. All right.
I said what I said.
You said what you said. Hey, well, all of our 16 listeners, it's fine. I don't think any of them will be offended. It's fine. It's just when we go big time, we hit it big, and people are gonna come back and listen to this episode and be like, ooh, and we're gonna lose all our sponsors. Yeah. All right. So actually, before we because we wanted to do a What We're Loving pod, we haven't done one in a bit of time. Brian, you had a big weekend this weekend. You kind of were everywhere. I think you were seeing shows. you were
saw
seeing
a Broadway
shows.
show. I met Daniel Day Kim actually at said
really?
Broadway show
Of Lost fame, right?
Of Lost and Avatar fame.
Oh yeah.
He's in the live action as Ozai.
Yeah.
Hawaii 5-0, which no one
Fire
watches.
Lord Ozai.
But Lost.
Lost.
I'm glad that he was not speaking with his fake accent, which is cool. And he had his shirt on, also cool.
Just not to intimidate you and make you feel worse about yourself.
I mean, he was wearing a t-shirt, and I was like, oh my god, this guy is buff.
He works out.
Way shorter than I thought he would be.
Okay.
I think he's definitely shorter than I am.
Oh, okay. He seems tall.
I thought he was 6+.
Okay.
Like for sure. I'm sorry to crush the dreams of many a thirsty woman out there. Like he's not a big dude.
And men.
And men. And men. Yes. Like not as
still
bigger
hunky,
than
though.
life as you might imagine him to be.
But still hunky.
And a very lovely human being. Very
Great.
nice. Very nice, gracious.
By all intents and accounts that I've heard, it sounds like he's pretty awesome as as just a regular human. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he cares about people. He's kind of active in different causes.
He spent basically like 45 minutes after performing a 2-hour show, just talking to people that were waiting to see him.
That's nice.
Yeah, actors don't got to do that, but he does.
All right, DDK, props to you.
But yeah, the other big thing I did this week, I played ball, went to a show, met DDK. I filmed my wife in a cabaret show. The friend that was singing and my wife was in as backup. I filmed that. But even better than all of that, I attended the annual New York Comic Con at the Jacob Javits Center.
We should have like cheers.
Love
I can
for
play
all
clapping
nerd
music.
culture. You could just clap.
Great.
Oh, that was such a tiny clap.
Well, I didn't want to blow out the microphone. You know, it's a lot of.
I clapped emotionally.
Oh my god.
Talking about me not having any approval for people. Jesus.
That was an emotional clap is really good. That's I mean the term like
Like Anna has been coaching me to stop being a hard ass to people around me and saying like, hey, sometimes, oh, thank you.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
She's been coaching me not to be a hard ass all the time and has been trying to get me to buy into this idea of giving the bees around you some honey. You gotta feed them some honey every now and again. So,
I subscribe to this.
So rather than
being a dick,
yes, but she's also acknowledging that the people around me are being bees. So, you know, emotional clapping is all good and dandy, but yo, man, throw me some honey. Like, come on.
Hey, Brian, I'm sorry that I, in my emotional clapping, that didn't feel as supportive to you as you would have liked it to. Here's a real clap.
Thank you.
In the future,
thank you.
I'll be mindful of what me giving and even receiving support looks
Can we
like.
move this along? Can we move this along?
Yeah, talk about what we're loving.
Attention versus impact.
I want to hear about Comic-Con.
So Comic-Con, not to be confused with San Diego Comic-Con, which is the con
major,
of all
major one.
cons. Yeah. But New York Comic-Con is also massive. Very, very massive. 4-day affair. I heard that all the hotels in New York City have exorbitant prices this weekend, and it's probably because of Comic-Con being in town. So I went on Friday. I had a grand old time, show floor, doing all of that, checking out the cosplay, saw some great cosplay. There were some dudes. There's a group, not just dudes, but a group of people cosplaying as Fallout soldiers, like the guys in the mechs.
Yeah, the power armor.
The
power armor, yes. Oh my goodness. And just like how detailed their armor were and they were like 6-7 feet tall, walking around.
They were
in
like
these things.
actual mechs almost.
In it. They were
some big boys.
I saw a Metroid costume, which was wild. Like same thing, like fully built armor. Samus underneath. It was a girl, and she had like the light lighting up the inside of the mask, right? So it looks like it's green, just like the actual Metroid. Another
cool.
really fun one I saw was Beetlejuice, but not just any Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice coming out of the table with the miniature town built on the table. Like if you know the Beetlejuice movies, that's like where he emerges. So this person is like walking around with a table of like miniature houses, basically. Which was just like, you know, people going the extra mile, people being like Savon doing more homework than they need to.
Hey man, sometimes people do it for the love of the game.
Like, yo, that's how you win. That's how you win. So that, that was phenomenal. I think the best thing though that we did, right? We also like went to a few panels. We went to
Who'd you go with? You said we.
I went with Anna and I went with a couple friends, and
Nice.
It was the friend's first time there, so I was trying to show them what like going to Comic-Con is all about. So we went to some panels. We went to a One Piece anniversary panel, and they had like the creators of One Piece that were there. We went to a What We Do in the Shadows panel. Ooh. And we saw like advanced screening of like the new season, and the actors from that show were there. But the best thing that we did was do this offsite Dune Prophecy experience. Dune Prophecy is a new TV show based on Dune that's coming out on HBO or on Max this fall. And they did this experience where basically, so Dune Prophecy is about the Bene Gesserits, right, in Dune lore. And
also
so,
terrifying.
Yes,
they might have made the
very terrifying.
Made the villain list for our last week's episode.
After this experience, I would say a Bene Gesserit costume is great. Is a great Halloween costume to scare some kids and adults. Actually,
we love that.
So we go into this experience, right? And they basically are only taking in a couple people at a time. And so we go in there, it's a dark room, they got the fog machines going, you really can't see anything, right? It's like all dark curtains, and then suddenly like a Bene Gesserit person comes out of nowhere, and they're like kind of ordering you around, like, come this way, follow me. And then you enter this other room, and there's all these Bene Gesserits walking around. And I don't like, it's sort of like the Star Wars ride at Disney World where there's lots of stormtroopers. I don't know how many were actually actors and how many were just mannequins dressed up as Bene Gesserits, but it's freaky looking, right? Because it's a dark room. They're playing eerie music from Dune. And then so the Bene Gesserits come up to you and they ask you this question, here are two statements, which one is the lie? And then you have to point at the proper thing, and then if you do, they take you to this other thing where they tell you to put your hand over the fire, which is really cool. It's fake fire and smoke and stuff, but it just looks cool and feels eerie. And then they take you into another room where there's like a high priestess type person sitting on a throne looking down at you with some more Bene Gesserit sisters, and they're all congregating around this giant, what looked like a baptismal font, like basically like a circular pool of water, water fountain type thing. And then they all put their hands on the ledge of this fountain, right? And so they're like indicating to you, like, put your hands on the fountain. And so we all do, and you realize that it's vibrating like crazy, and the water is also, vibrating with it. And so it has that really cool looking effect that we've seen in the Dune movies of just like this crazy shit happening. And then, you have like the high priestess woman like saying some crazy stuff. And yeah, it was just like a crazy experience, but
that's dope.
Really cool. And just like one of those fun things that happens at Comic-Con where they do all these activations around different IP.
Man, that's fire. I want to go to that. I need to also understand Dune.
Exactly. So
right. Next year we're booking it.
Yeah. Book your tickets right now. We got to show up, and we're doing a live pod on the show floor.
You got a guest room for us, Brian? Me and Sav, we can share a room.
You can share this twin bed that's right behind me. It's all yours. And bonus, you get somebody's basketball shorts that got left behind.
Dang,
from my last guest.
Comes included. Oh man,
we get a plant.
No, the plant is mine. That's not yours.
Okay,
you get to look at it.
Yes. For your eyes only.
Did they do anything with like the voice? Because like in Dune, when the Bene Gesserit use the voice, like the audio changes and it's like very overwhelming. Did they do something like that?
So like the actors, it was a little weird because the actors were gesturing to you, but they weren't actually talking.
Yeah.
It was pre-recorded voice acting coming from the speakers, and it would modulate. It would modulate when they were using the voice, or like really crazy, or it would just be like a strong whisper that was also eerie. But yeah, either way, it was it was a crazy experience.
Nice.
So like, what is it like when you walk around Comic-Con? Is it just like there's a bunch of like tables and booths? Is it like what is the like? What does it look like?
So
like
the
if
show
I walk
floor,
in, what do I see? Yeah.
So you enter this massive convention space, and it's just covered or filled with all these different booths and tables. So some of it are just like small time vendors, people who are selling toys or merch or whatever. But then you also get, the heavy hitters. Like Marvel has a giant booth, and at their booth they had like sneak preview costumes for the new Daredevil TV show, right?
Oh,
so
that's cool.
You got to see
you can take
like
a picture with it.
Yeah, you could take a picture of it and stuff. And they would have like giveaways at certain times, and like they were showing all sorts of stuff. Like Capcom had their own booth, Bandai had their own booth, right? And they're showing off their Gundam stuff. They're showing off, the new Dragon Ball stuff. There's like this huge like 100-foot inflatable of Goku, right in the middle of the show floor.
As there should be.
Yeah, and he's doing like a power horse squat. So like you take a picture underneath his crotch, which of course we did.
Love it.
You got stuff like that, and like Funko Pop has their own booth, and they're selling all these Comic-Con Funko exclusives.
Oh hell yeah!
So it's just covered with that, and then there's also an artist area, which is my favorite part. Comic book artists, some very well known, some you don't know. Sometimes writers also have tables. It's usually the illustrators though, because they have they sell prints of their artwork, and sometimes they sell original artwork, right? And like they sell actual comic book pages, right? That are used in the books that we've read. So like you can get their original work and buy it from them. You can commission them to draw you something. So, or you can just talk to them. So it's a really fun time, good way to connect with comic book culture and the greater nerd culture, of course. And just basically nerd out and be like, super what's the word, like oversaturated with nerddom for like an entire day or entire weekend. I only went one day, but all of us that went were like, oh man, we kind of wish we went a second day.
Really?
Like there was more to see. Yeah,
okay. I was having a good time.
There's too much to do. There's too much
so much to do. That sounds lit. I'll be in there all day.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
Did they have good food options?
No, terrible.
Really? It seems like that would be
all right. It's all right.
They should have.
There's some food trucks, there's like cafeteria food, but that's just fuel. Because you're like, we don't have time for this. We got to go. We got to get to that panel.
They got to get like a good like drink and food situation. I feel like that would be
the worst part is one of the foods that they sell is this like really old school buttery ass popcorn. Like from like a bad movie theater, not like one of the nice big chains, but like your bad local movie theater where like the ground is sticky. And so they're selling that, but that butter, that like fabricated butter smell just pervades the show floor and intermingles with the BO from all the nerds. And then there's like a cheesy smell on top of that. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I'm not
so next time I'm gonna go as a character that wears a gas mask, I think. I think that's the way to go.
That'd be good. All right, very cool. Well, thanks for your reporting from you're a reporter now, Brian. You're on a podcast, you're a journalist reporting from Comic-Con 2024.
This is Brian.
Back to you, Wesley.
No, that's really cool. That sounds like something I would like to go see. I had a couple of like chances to be like go to San Diego Comic-Con when I was living at home in LA, because it's not too far in Long Beach. But just like the price, and then it just sounded like it was like super crowded. It just didn't seem like it was going to be like that much fun. I don't know how much of that you felt like when you were there. It sounded like that wasn't an issue at all. It was just like fun, and you were like,
I mean,
really
it's definitely
into it.
crowded.
Yeah.
I had
Crowded
a friend.
is okay, right? But sometimes it can be too crowded where it's like we're waiting in line for everything.
Yeah, if you're just there, it's a line waiting simulator.
Yeah.
You gotta game it out a little bit. You gotta know what you're getting into, plan out your day, reserve things if you can. But also just like be mentally prepared for that. Like, so I had a friend who was there for less than 2 hours because she couldn't take the crowds and she like pieced. So, it's not gonna be for everyone. But what I hear though from people that have gone to both, that San Diego is like on a whole nother level, and yes, crowded and expensive, but it permeates the entire city of San Diego, and there's just like so much that you'll still have a good time regardless of all those.
Maybe we should go there. That should be
I think we should.
When is San Diego Comic-Con?
July.
Okay. Oh, great.
Okay.
This works. I'm off. Okay.
Yeah, I could cook with that.
All right, next year, 2025, and then 2026 World Cup, yeah? We should go to the World Cup.
Yeah, as long as
it's just a lot of side eye.
Like a pound people live in LA.
It's not
sure.
Basketball. What are you talking about?
Man. Find some people who can hook it up, sure.
And then the Olympics in 2028 are going to be in LA.
Oh, that one's a hard pass.
Let's go.
Hard pass for me.
You gotta go.
I don't want to deal with that traffic.
Traffic already, man. People gonna be evacuating the city.
All right, let's get into it. What we're loving. I want to hear what Savon has been loving. We haven't done a what we're loving in a while. I can't even remember. I can't even tell you what the last one we did was. Yeah, Savon, what is what we're loving this week for you?
Yeah, man. My what we're loving is pretty straightforward. This is really in reference to like I've watched the latest season, but really just the series as a whole. I've been watching a lot of Bridgerton.
Oh my god.
That was unexpected.
Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
Because Bridgerton, really, that's like a soap opera, and also maybe softcore pornish for for women, really.
No.
That guy is pretty hot.
No, stop. So
he's great in Dungeons and Dragons. That guy.
He was only in like the first season. He's not even in the other seasons.
Oh, this man has watched multiple seasons.
Well, I've watched the whole series.
Wait, he left the show?
His character arc ended.
What? That doesn't make sense. Wasn't he like? I never saw it. But wasn't he like the main guy?
His character arc ended.
Fumbled the bag.
I don't know what to say. So no,
you've said it 3 times already.
What kind of show knows when to end a character on time? That doesn't make sense.
This is why I'm putting this on my loving. So I've been watching Bridgerton, and for those who are unfamiliar, it's based off of a series of romance novels written by Julia Quinn, but it's been adapted for Netflix. So to set the scene, the show takes place in the 1800s in like an alternate history of like London and like the British Empire. At this point, it's the reign of King George III. The big thing that kind of makes this a historical fiction alternate history story is that during this time period, because of the African heritage of his then wife Queen Charlotte, who I think historically was she had some like Moor ancestry. The fictional version is that the British Empire grants aristocratic titles to a bunch of different people within the British Empire of the time, and so that includes like African nations, Asian. So that's why if you watch the show,
that's why it's diverse.
You'll see people of all kinds of like ethnic backgrounds. That's why. So
this is the king when America has its revolution in the late 1700s.
Well, the show takes place more in the 1800s.
Yeah, but I'm saying same king. Like this is that King George, the one made famous by Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Yeah, same King George. All right, keep going.
The one who reigned from 38 to 1820. Yeah. Anyways, so takes place during that time. That's just to give you the backdrop of like why you have these diverse characters and why there's so many like people. It's not just a bunch of old white folks, right? And then the show focuses on a family known as the Bridgerton family. It's a mother and then her I think like 8 kids, ranging from a wide range. And then it's really just about multiple families in this era, in this time, in this like city, and their relationships, their dating, family stuff, just all the dynamics.
All
that
Savon
comes with
stuff.
all the stuff that comes with that. And again, this wasn't a show that I thought I would find myself into. I was like, I don't want to watch some romance stuff. Yada yada yada.
You
blah, blah,
and
blah.
me both, my friend.
But I ended up sitting and watching it, and it really stuck with me because it is very very well written, frankly. The character, like a lot of the conflict is very much, or the show is very character driven. And so a lot of the dialogue is great. The characters have very complex interactions. There's a very large cast, and they do a great job of giving people a good balance. But I think unlike a lot of other ensemble shows that I've watched, it's not a dark, depressing show where you hate the majority of the cast. A lot of the characters, in fact, I would say the majority of the characters are actually very likable. And so it just makes it for a fun watch in that the conflicts are interesting. Even the romance drama stuff, I'm not usually into romance, but it's very well written. The conflict, these two are going to we know these two are going to probably end up together. How does that happen? What's the conflict? Who's effing up? Who's not? But it's nice to watch a show about all these relationships and conflict, but it's not just people being awful to each other. Characters have legitimate misunderstandings. Characters make mistakes, but they don't just come from a place of wanton cruelty or doing things that don't make any sense. And it's
Good
nice
use of
to
the
have
word wanton there. I like it.
Yeah, and it's nice to have.
I only know it
have...
in terms of soup.
It's nice. It's nice to have, but it's nice to have a show of characters who don't all hate each other. And even within the show, the mother has all her bunch of children, and then even amongst this family of the Bridgerton family, it's like 8 of them. Some are kids, some are grown adults. But the acting really sells you on them as a family, and that really pushes the character interactions well. Siblings have romance issues, and other siblings notice. They ask questions. They really.
It's like a good CW show.
It's nice to. I mean, I wouldn't say like it's interesting to see a
That's
show
my
about a
perception of it.
family. It's interesting to see a show about a big family and they don't all hate each other. Okay. But they all have unique motivations, their own things going on, their own conflict, but they're still a supportive family, but they still get into conflict. And I've realized there's not a lot of shows I watch that have, frankly, that. But I think what's really also made Bridgerton really good is that the production value is just top tier. Frankly, the costumes, the design, the sets. There are so many
into the Victorian era costumes.
I mean, you gotta.
This is where we're at now.
You gotta respect the fits, though. They're hard. There's a character named Lady Danbury who's just this old black woman. She's widowed. She's old. She just puts on balls and kind of just does more political maneuvering. But she just has the hardest fits, and she always has like a fire cane and some dope color, and families have preferred. It's just it's kind of, I get the same feeling I had watching Game of Thrones of like, oh, they're really just putting the costume design, the set, the people who do the hair, makeup, wigs. The queen has all her different like hairstyles, and even me, I'm not a fashion. I mean, I do like fashion, but like I see the queen's fits, and I'm like, oh, she is. Half the time watching the show, I'm like, oh, this fit is hard. Oh man, this is there. Oh, she's trying to make a point today. But the romance is good. There's a big cast. Wes, to your point of why is the guy who played Simon in the first season not there, is because each season, because they're adapted from these romance novels, focus on different members of the Bridgerton family and then their eventual kind of like relationship. Because this is still a Victorian era where once a year, it's a time of year where folks are courting and trying to get married, and
it's still like a once a year thing. That's interesting.
It's like a courting time of year in the high life, and the books are, the show is also good about like, it's a, I don't want to say it's like a, I mean, it is definitely a feminist show, but like it does a good job of addressing, there are lots of characters who don't like being caught in the confines of the society of having to be a royal, having to keep up appearances, not being able to be your true self, for men and women. So beneath the romance parts, there's still a lot of like good character drama of what does it mean to be somebody in a society that puts you in a box, and how do you navigate that? How it affects women compared to men. Both are boxed in, but for different characters it manifests. And there's even siblings who find, solace in one another of, we're both boxed in as men and women in different ways. The grass ain't always greener, but that comes through really heartfelt, well acted, just character moments. So it's a good blend of production value the adaptation from the novels are great. It's a big cast that's well acted, and it doesn't just focus on one person. Again, each season, different member of the family. So certain siblings are kind of more or less prominent as seasons go. Some siblings get married and leave the show, so they're kind of like out of the story, but that affects everyone else. Of, oh, my brother's gone,
like
I'm the man of the
Duggars.
house. Yeah, I'm the man of the house now. Or what does it mean for me to have been the second son who was kind of vibing to now, oh crap, my older brother's off and gone. What is my focus in life? And it does a good job of answering those existential questions. But overall, it's just a well put together show. Didn't think I'd like it, but I've watched all 3 seasons and the spinoff show Queen Charlotte, and I've enjoyed all of it. Yeah,
There's a
Queen
spinoff?
Charlotte. There's
I
one of the
didn't even
characters,
know.
Queen Charlotte, King George's wife, the one who was of Moorish descent. There's a spinoff that explains how she came to there, and it gives more context into how these different non-white peoples in the British Empire got these aristocratic titles, and actually like the conflict of, the underlying racism of that even being a thing in the first place, which again was really compelling. But overall, it's just a nice palate cleanser. It's entertaining, it's gripping, it's well put together, but it's not just a big downer, depressing blood death show, and characters actually like each other.
So are you kind of saying this is a good contrast to Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I mean, yes,
Like,
yes, because there are
Families
still
not trying to kill each other, but like the fits
Yes,
are good.
but all the other elements are
The
still there.
trappings of
Yes,
historical time
Yes.
period thing.
families having issues with each other, marriages and how those marriages can shift the, just the perception of things, having to just deal with the perception of your peers, even though it's all BS and like rumors and stuff. It can feel silly, but in the context of the show, it's very it's compelling enough to where you're interested, but you're not going to walk away depressed of like, oh my God, all these awful things happen. Lots of important stuff happens, but I think only like one character has died. But it's not a show about death.
That's
so, like,
it. What the fuck?
but lots of
Come on.
characters, but lots
Can't
of
they stab
characters
some
suffer.
people?
But lots of characters still suffer consequences, take
Sav
L's,
has
ruin their
told us
life.
repeatedly
and all
there
that.
can be stakes without having to like die.
Without wooden stakes.
Without
So yeah, I mean, Bridgerton, I'm digging
Just
it. Like,
cow
I
steaks.
finished up the last season like a week or two ago, and I'm like, okay, I need more.
So you watching this whole series, does it or does it not coincide with you being in a romantic relationship?
Oh no, it does. She made me like start watching the show,
Okay.
but but I will also fully admit
Thank you
that
for the
doesn't mean
context.
it doesn't mean it's bad
no,
No,
but I will
not at all.
or
It means
illegitimate.
someone is helping to expand your horizons.
But I will fully admit, I was like, I watched it begrudgingly, and I legitimately fell in love with the show. Of like, oh, I'm having a blast. I have takes. I have opinions. People are pissing me off. I'm like, hey, what is he doing? Why is he not telling her how he feel? Like, I'm like, oh man, you pissing me off, man. If you don't tell this girl how you feel, you got to ruin this.
Y'all should watch Heart of Dixie. I love that show.
What
So
is
funny.
that? I've never even heard of that.
Even for
Dixie?
what you're loving.
Yeah, Heart of Dixie, man. It's like that, but just on a smaller scale. It's a smaller show.
But I really do recommend Bridgerton in that, like, dude, we watch a lot of really depressing, awful, nothing good happens to people's shows.
The boys
Bridgerton,
looking at
Bridgerton-
you.
Matches
When I
the
t-
time.
when I tell you,
yeah.
it is so refreshing to have a show that is still well written, still engaging, still stimulates the mind, but isn't just stimulating you off of depression and violence and depravity.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Elizabeth? It was like a late 90s movie with Kate
Oh, definitely not.
Blanchett.
A 90s movie called Elizabeth? Absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Have
It was
you
good.
ever seen Pride and Prejudice or Sense and Sensibility and
it's-
Jane Austen adaptations?
I saw what was the one that came out last year? Little Women?
Yeah, Little Women.
That was all right.
That's a. I guess
Different
it's a
author.
similar
Similar genre, maybe.
similar era-ish, or similar themes, maybe, but
Yeah.
about courting and men.
Oh yeah. So you might like
or
Little
the,
Women.
the gender roles of women.
Okay, but Elizabeth, I think you would like it. You should check it out. It's more on the serious side than it sounds like Bridgerton is. But also very good, and also questioning like roles and how you fit and like what's proper and what's not,
Absolutely.
and crazy outfits. The costume department also went hard on that movie.
Hell yeah.
So next follow-up question, Savon, have you or have you not bought a puffy shirt yet? Like a puffy button-down shirt with some frills that pop out.
Frills, you gotta have the
underneath
frills.
The
frills,
jacket
no,
coat.
but I won't pretend that this show hasn't made me really want to invest in like a cloak.
Oh my god.
Like if I just had like a
do it. I'm in favor. Yeah.
I mean, like, Halloween's around the corner. That has many uses.
But I mean like a cloak that I wear like in January in the winter.
Wow.
Not Han Solo.
Your next sex party?
Who am I thinking of? Lando Calrissian, bro. Always had a cloak, right?
Yeah.
Cape. He had a cape maybe more, but that'd be dope. I think you should do it. I'm in favor of this. Add that to your shopping cart.
Trust me.
I hope it's purple.
Ooh.
Come on now.
Or like dual tone, like one side is purple and the other side is like black or something on the outside.
Chill out, y'all.
Yeah, like the inside's got to be purple.
Chill out, y'all. I'm gonna like cry with excitement.
Do this. Do this.
Treat yourself.
I don't know what you wear with it, but I think
nothing.
Doesn't matter.
What? It's just the.
Anyways, yeah, that's what I'm loving. Good stuff. I'm enjoying it.
Just slonging and donging. All right.
Is that a Walt Clyde Fraserism?
It's one he should not use if he has not yet.
I think he should go out with that one. He's on the
last day of the job. Last day before he quits.
Brian, did you want to do a what we're loving, or it was Comic-Con your what we're loving?
I'll do a quick what I'm loving. Okay. It's been a few years since I've really been into anime, and for whatever reason, this past summer, I've like, oh man, I'm back in it. I'm back in it. Oh,
you're the
God,
Michael Jordan one note press release.
I'm in my Wizard season right now. I restarted my Crunchyroll account. I already had one. Now it's actually active again. And I've been loving Frieren Beyond Journey's End, which is a great fantasy series.
Nice.
I've been loving the new show Dandadan.
Which is
Dan?
Yeah, which is like the hot new anime. Like, it's kind of like sort of romantic, but also crazy supernatural and aliens and just like the
second episode
animation
was a bit
is
much,
off
but
the
I like
wall. Yeah, I like it too. But the one anime that has really sucked me in and is keeping me on the couch way too late at night is something I wasn't prepared for. It's the anime called Haikyuu, which is a shonen anime about a high school volleyball team. And I never knew that I'd ever get into a sports anime. That'd be like Savon getting into Bridgerton. But yo, people can change and get into new things. And like doing the shonen style anime, right? Like Naruto type main character with a Sasuke type rivalry, and they gotta level up and like they go through trials and they go get very detailed about the minutia of their abilities and how they're gonna deploy their abilities to.
So they're like super powered volleyball players?
No, that's
it's just
the
very
crazy
dramatic.
thing.
It's just dramatic as hell.
It's like it's the same type of formula that they use in like supernatural type shows, but applied to the realism of high school volleyball. Like these are not they're not super powered at all. They're just volleyball players. Like one is really athletic but has no experience and is too short for volleyball. That's the Naruto character. His teammate, who's also his rival, is like a prodigy type player, but with a terrible attitude, and they got to figure it out. Great. And then like they get into like all these details about spiking and how to spike and how to set the ball, how to receive, like strategy against different types of teams that specialize in defense or specialize in serving or do these kind of crazy things. Or
it's
like
just a volleyball coaching clinic video.
Yes, I've learned so much about this sport that I really appreciate now.
You're learning,
but yo, like but you end up caring for every single character. Good, like our home team. Like you get to know their whole team, similar to Naruto, of course. But you get to know their adversaries as well in a really deep way, and you appreciate all their backstories and kind of things that they're working through to be good volleyball players, and they're all like, yeah, I just want to be the best, and I'm not gonna lose to you, just like hyper crazy anime style, right? Like over the top expressions of sincerity and joy and earnestness, and it's so fun. It is so fun, and it's just like one of those things that doesn't work in any other medium except anime, and like
absolutely.
I'm like all about it right now, and I'm almost finished with the 4 seasons where they're at, and then on to the next one. I'm gonna find a new anime. I'm waiting for the rest of the Dan, and if y'all got recommendations for me, let me know.
Did you ever watch High School Academia?
My Hero Academia?
My Hero, the one that Sav talked about maybe 6 months ago or something.
I've watched the first episode, but honestly, the superhero theming, like, I love the idea. I mean, every time Savon talks about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds totally cool. But I've watched the first episode, and the superhero theming is actually the thing that makes me go like, I'm kind of oversaturated on superheroes. I want anime for like other stuff.
Gotcha.
So I've sort of been like trying to scratch other itches in the medium.
Scratch other itches. Okay, great.
Reasonable.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Sports mangas are really funny though. Like the same with the basketball one. It's like, oh, this is the most drawn out way to talk about a crossover.
Yes.
When he goes,
diagrams within the
he leans to the right, but then using his head, he fakes left. I have to be ready for that. In other words, he's trying to deceive me. I'm like, yes, bro. It's a crossover.
Yeah. And it's so dramatic. Like in the Haikyuu thing,
when they do get crossed so hard, it's like the other person turned invisible. It's like to the other one's perception, like the cross was so hard. It's like, where'd he go?
Oh, totally.
Like, you got crossed.
Totally.
But instead of just turning your head like L. Harrington,
they do like the crazy action lines. Like the person looks like they're flying, but really they just jump 2 feet off the ground.
Shout out Al Harrington.
One dude in the crowd is just analyzing it all, like Brock in Pokemon.
Yeah,
he's getting cooked on defense. They recognize he's not able to defend. This will be difficult for them.
All right. Wait, Haikyuu is on Crunchyroll or it's on Netflix? I thought it was on Netflix.
It's on both. It's on both.
Okay.
Actually.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'll have to add that to the list. I always check out. Not I always. I sometimes will check out anime, and I never stick with it. I don't know. I don't give it enough chance. It's kind of like how me and Sav are sort of averse to black and white. I think I start watching it, and I'm like, this is just not serious.
We're not comparing anime to
I don't
black and white media.
I don't really get into it. No, I mean just in my brain. Not that they're the same.
I know that was a very offensive comparison, but I do get your general point.
Yeah, I'm offended for a different reason. Come on, guys. Black and white movies are phenomenal.
Are they though?
Those movies are so old that everybody connected to the production is dead.
And should be revered.
Who are you? And that's what people like you are for. Go revere them.
Paul Revere. All right, what we're loving this week is pretty straightforward. I got a quick one that's not really a what we're loving, but just like the love of sports. I was talking about this at the start of last show, how like we're just in kind of a prime time of sports right now. Like just the Yankees had like a crazy win yesterday where a couple of guys just hit like really ridiculous like homers in like just exactly the right moment. The Mets have been fueled by like their offense and defense. The Dodgers have just been pure offense. And Grimace. The Dodgers have been pure like just straight offense, like Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani. Like I don't even watch baseball that much, but I was watching some playoff baseball, and I'm like, I think I need a Shohei jersey. This guy is like world changing. I'm like, I just need to get in on this. Like, what if I miss getting a jersey from like one of the greatest players of all time? And they're like $180 for like a replica version, and like $400 for an authentic. And I was like, no, I'm good.
What?
Maybe I need a t-shirt.
Oh.
Maybe I just need a t-shirt.
Get a tattoo instead.
Oh, no, nothing.
That's cheaper.
It is cheaper. Jesus. So, and this is on the scale of like playoff, moments. The thing I want to talk about is actually like 0.00001% as important, but just as fun. I'm watching NBA preseason a lot right now, and the Lakers have played a few games. And
here we go.
You know, notwithstanding, I understand that the Lakers may not be even in the mid tier of teams in the West this year, actually, because the West is pretty stacked. We're probably at the bottom of the mid tier or top of the bottom tier.
Would you call them F tier?
No, we're not F tier. There's only a couple of F tier teams.
They are definitively C tier.
Yeah, we're a play-in team. Probably it's most likely outcome. There's a chance we miss the playoffs. There's a chance we get the 6th seed. There's no chance we get a top 4 seed. You know, that's unless we make a trade. I was saying maybe whatever. I'm just saying that I have reasonable expectations for what this season is going to be, even with the infusion of new coaching and yada yada yada, all that stuff. The Lakers drafted Dalton Knecht, 4-year player out of Tennessee. I don't know where he was before that. He was at a different school before that. Tennessee, he's an older player. He's not one of these like one and done prospects who's going to be, franchise player. He's going to be a role player. That's his job. He's a shooter, movement shooter, something we haven't had in a long time. Tons of confidence. Hasn't actually performed that well against the first and second units. Like he comes in as a sub. He's missed a lot of shots, even the ones that are wide open.
So he's good at against the third unit? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying is like you get these opportunities in preseason to see just like dudes go up against like, kind of like random things. And he like everybody in Laker fandom is just like, this guy is legit. I know he's been struggling and he's doing some of these things against like weaker opponents, but like the things that he brings to the table are legit. He's got some bounce to him. He's got some size to him, and he can shoot it. And it's high release point. Like think like Glenn Rice kind of shot, like that sort of thing. Just like high release point, 6'7", 6'6" kind of guy. Got wide shoulders. He takes it to the rack and dunks it as well. So he's got a mid range game. So he's technically like he should be a 3-level scorer. We'll see. But what was fun? Yeah, should be. We'll see. We'll see. He's gonna get picked on defense, so he could get played off the floor against better teams. But just he should be a good regular season ad. But what was exciting was the other night, he just went super fucking Nova and brought the Lakers back. They were down by like, I don't know, I want to say 10 or 13 points, something like that. And he had 20 straight points on his own, hitting ridiculous shots. I mean, he was hitting like pull-up threes, coming off of a pin down screen pull-up three, like off the move. He hit a like 2 seconds to go out of bounds play where he just had to hoist it up against a defender who was like in his space and contested and drilled it. I mean, just the way he was making these shots was just like really fun and really amazing. And so that was my like small what we're loving, because I was just like, oh my God, this is so much fun. And just, I'm glad I watched the end of the game, because usually at the end of the game, it's kind of crappy. They play bad basketball because, they're not really NBA
preseason Lakers basketball, Brian.
Yeah, they're G leaguers basically that you're watching on, play the
basically zero defense. Right? They play like
preseason Lakers basketball.
Level. But you have like you don't have the top guys to like bend the defense, right? Like you're expecting, like in a real basketball game, you'd have Luka attracting double teams. You'd have Shea attracting double teams. You have LeBron or AD attracting, like you don't have any of that, right? So like everybody's just getting played up straight up. Like you don't get any advantage, right? And it didn't matter. Like this dude was just drilling things in people's faces, like not one-on-one shots, not like wide open shots. It was just like hand in his face, no room to move, and just somehow threw it in. It was incredible. And what like everyone's just like, oh, or I was just like, oh my God, this is like ridiculous. And
how long till they turn on him, Brian?
On Dalton's Knecht?
Because aren't you a Knicks fan, Brian? Both of y'all fan bases will turn on your mamas if they miss the layup.
If he becomes a starter, that's when problems are gonna happen.
He's going to become a starter? You think so?
No, not this year. But I'm saying like maybe in like 2 or 3, 4 years, whatever, right? If he's a starter, that's when it'll happen.
Keep somebody on the team that long
because he can't. He doesn't move very well for like a shooting guard, so he's not gonna be able to guard anybody at that level. He's just gonna get cooked. Is basically what's gonna happen. Even as a small forward, he's still gonna get cooked. He's not guarding PG. PG would, destroy him. Yeah. So, but it was just fun for like the moment of, this guy's worked really hard. He's paid his dues, and to have a moment like that is really cool. Lakers also had another dude go off against Milwaukee, who also is just like a no-name guy, and just to see him like kind of seize the moment, it's cool to like see these guys just like work for their dreams and have these big moments that they put on film and could earn them a contract with an NBA team or maybe another team, overseas or something like that. And like these are big moments for these guys. So it was fun to see them just like show out, basically in these, real NBA games or real preseason NBA games.
The preseason always makes me think of like What If in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's just like
just zombies.
Only if like, maybe something magical could happen, basically, based on this tiny little sample size of unrealistic basketball. I love to believe too. And there are nice stories abound, but
yeah. It was cool to see like what his ceiling might be one day, right? Like once he's maybe gotten more strength, once he's gotten some more speed work in, whatever. Like I think those things are there, and obviously he's not going to be like a top tier player right now, right? He's a 17th pick in the draft. He's a rookie, all that good stuff. But he might contribute this year a little bit, which is nice. It seems like he's going to be in that top 9 rotation. So
yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like he can contribute. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Like he's one of those dudes where you do see a lot of highlights from him, like since he's entered the league.
Fight you if you ever try to sell us on your mid-tier rookies preseason performances without the stars. I will come to your home.
Imagine
he did say against the third unit.
Yeah. Imagine with the stars. He's gonna be pretty lethal.
And you also understand that he's
pretty lethal with
the stars too, right? Like that there's like there's two sides of the ball.
You're right. I'm not getting overhyped. I'm not saying he's gonna be
Are you sure?
the next. I'm not saying he's gonna be the next like Michael Porter Jr. That's not what his ceiling is.
Well, Michael Porter Jr. ceiling. Oh man, we're getting really wild up in here, Brian. We're getting crazy.
he's a role player.
He's no NBA champion MPJ, but he can carve out a nice career for himself.
Yeah. He's like,
I'm looking forward to his journeyman career.
Yes, that's what we're looking for here. Journeyman career. I like it. Yeah, like he could be Nick Batum.
Isn't LeBron your longest tenured player?
At this point, yeah.
Probably, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a rough stretch. Although, do you count D'Lo's first few years? Maybe D'Lo.
Did he leave and get brought back?
Yeah. So I'm saying maybe the first.
He became a different person.
That's the opposite of tenured and continuity.
Okay,
That's like the opposite.
Yeah, he's not continuous, but he's been on the team for that long. Anyways, I had another one, but I'll save it. I was going to talk about this book called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker.
Because Wes talks about the Lakers too much.
Hey, I love the Lakers. We're gonna have a good year. I don't know if we're gonna be. I know we're not gonna be top 4.
If by good year you mean, I guess y'all exist as a basketball team. I guess sure.
I mean, it might be. I think we're gonna do better than that, Savon. I think. We'll just do better than that.
Bless your heart,
I'm not gonna lie. I am rooting for this LeBron Bronny storyline. That I don't care that it's nepotism. I don't care that it's.
What do you want to happen?
Ridiculous. I just like seeing them on the court together, which happened like once in one of the preseason games. And I'd love to see it in a real game.
He's not good enough.
I mean, I realize that. I totally. He's definitely not as good as Dalton Knecht.
No, but it's definitely going to happen in a real. They're going to put him in with LeBron. How could you not?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it might happen in the first game of the season.
But then he needs to go play in the G League.
I think that's just cool. I think that's just cool.
I think it's cool, but then he needs to go play in the G League. He cannot be our 11th man off the bench. I'm sorry.
I think he can. It's the Lakers.
Yeah, what y'all got? What y'all trying to do?
Yeah, there's nothing on the line. You might as well play him. At least maybe people will buy his jersey.
I guess people would buy his jersey. I don't know. Don't buy his jersey. That's not right. He's the 55th pick. He's not going to be anything crazy.
Yeah, he's no Nikola Jokic.
If he has a journeyman career, he'll be in a good spot. Why We Sleep. Y'all should read this book though. It's good, but terrible.
Cool.
It's
Great.
It's like it basically told me that I'm doing everything wrong and that I'm gonna die early.
So why would I read this shit?
I need to change. Well, because then it empowers you to like make changes.
How are you gonna tell me what the book gonna empower me to do? What if it just makes me depressed?
Well, okay, then it empowers you.
What
to
if
be
it
depressed,
just breaks me? No, just not power.
You're a
What if it
knowledge is power.
stabilizes your table?
You are. You're a knowledge is power person.
Now, when it comes to my happiness,
you would like it.
Knowledge has been at the expense of my happiness.
Yeah, but you like knowledge and you like learning things. So
yeah, and I also
you would like it.
If I could unironically unlearn stuff, I would.
Yeah, but you love learning.
I would love to.
You continue to absorb all kinds of knowledge.
Yeah,
that's
a negative trait. It's more like you're thinking of it as me being a sponge for knowledge. It's more of a Agatha absorbing things from people, and everyone's worse off for it.
You're like Angstrom Levy, like your brain has gotten too huge, and now it's just
miserable.
Awful.
Every time I learn a new fact, I'm like, oh, cool. Now I know more about the world. Why the world sucks. Great. Let's go. It's like, cool. Now I know why the U.S. government's so dysfunctional.
It is a little dysfunctional.
I am not. I am not happier for it. But I'll check out the book if I want to.
The premise is basically
spiraling.
just like there's a lot of things that sleep offers to our bodies, and he goes into a lot of like specifics about where these things come up and how they work, and like what it does seem to be happening based on current research and what doesn't seem to be happening, and it's just been like cool to like see all of this like evidence just like stacked and stacked and stacked and stacked and stacked, and by the time you get to chapter 3 or 4, you're already like, oh man, I need to sleep way fucking more.
Oh, then no, I'm definitely not reading.
How much do you sleep, Wes?
I probably average 5 hours and 45 minutes of sleep a night.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty low.
Less than 6 hours a night?
Probably.
Oh my
maybe
God.
6. I go to bed too
How
late
do you
because-
exist?
I don't know, but it's because like my kids go to bed, at 9, and before that I haven't had any time to like do anything by myself like at all. And so even if I have work to do, I'll do a little bit of work, and then I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna play video games at like 10:30 at night, and then I'll play till midnight, and then it's midnight, and I'm like, well, now I gotta go to bed, and I'm not in bed until 12:30 or 1, and then boom, like then I gotta wake up at 6. There you have it. That's how I get 6 hours of sleep or less every night.
Sell the PS5, buddy. It's gone.
I should
sacrifice.
No, I'm not going
sacrifice for the greater good.
I can't do it. It's too good.
You can't leave her.
It's too good. It's too much video gaming to be had. I got a nice win today in Apex. It was nice. All right. Is that going to do it for us?
I think so. This is lovely.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. Books.
Well, friends.
Books, romance, volleyball. We got it all here, folks.
Haikyuu. Check it out on Netflix or Crunchyroll. Haikyuu.
Go sleep. Who knew?
8
Who knew it would
hours.
solve a lot of problems?
Yeah. But just telling someone like, oh, you need 8 hours of sleep, it's not convincing. It's not going to make anyone change their behavior.
Absolutely convincing. Because sleep is awesome.
No,
and I
but
have
Sav-
strived for 8 hours most of my life.
Sav, you don't sleep 8 hours a night probably, right? For most nights. Right?
No.
And like if I told you, Sav, you should really get 8 hours of sleep a night, you'd be like, okay. People have said that forever.
I've done the calculus on where I stand about this. I
have,
as
but
a known
reading this
sleep
book-
min-maxer, I've already done the math.
Reading this book or listening, it's an audiobook, I've started to reconsider. I really thought I was doing fine. And some of the things he said, I'm like, that is happening to me, and that's happening too, and that's happening too. And I was like, okay, maybe I need to rethink this. Have I figured it out yet? No, because I'm still getting 6 hours of sleep.
I'll die before I just start going to bed early.
I mean, you should read the book. It's, there's some life or death things going on.
I know what I'm about, son.
Okay.
The key really is not going to bed earlier, folks. It's waking up later, which is what I do.
He does talk about circadian rhythm and how certain people have naturally later circadian rhythms than other people. So maybe you have a later one. It's possible.
Yeah.
Sounds like Anna has a really.
I'm a late bloomer.
Sounds like Anna has a really late one. You said she sleeps in real hard.
It's not even a late one. It's just an all the time one.
Oh, she's just always asleep.
She's just like, oh,
Can't
sleeping.
be tired if you're always asleep.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shikamaru.
All right, that'll do it for us. I don't. Do you guys know what we're talking about next? We haven't talked about it.
Nah, we'll figure it out.
All right, we'll post the homework in the Instagram so that you guys know what we're talking about on the next show. Friends, we're out of here. Talk to you later. Bye.
Get some sleep.
Sleep 8 hours. It's important for your health and your family and you.